In the beginning of the show, we obviously spoke about the passing of our friend Wally Safford. How close were you to Wally?
We were very close. Actually, when I just made reference to after the Purple Rain tour is when I became security director. Wally went with me. So it was Wally and I that were in Los Angeles with Prince before we went for the filming of Under the Cherry Moon. Wally was my second in Los Angeles, and he had obviously a history with Prince prior to me. They had been on tour. And I do just want to take the time to give my condolences also to the whole Detroit family. There's a Paisley Park Purple family there in Detroit. Mitch, Dewey and Noor, the Muhammad brothers, Billy Sparks, Quentin Perry, just another cast of people that I'm sure are just as affected, if not more so than we all are. We love you guys. We miss you guys. We give Wally's family the best and whatnot. And so I want to acknowledge that. But Wally was just he was a great guy. And when we came in with the new team, Hucky and I and some other people that Chick had brought in, Wally and the guys out of Detroit, they had pretty much done the job that we were now assigned to do. So we were this new team, and there was this not conflict, but like, okay, where do they fit in and where do we fit in? But after the tour started and some of those differences were settled and whatnot, we were all just kind of brothers and getting the job done. And there was so much to do on that Purple Rain tour in particular that there was a certain closeness there. And then later on, when he became part of the band, and actually that started because they were on stage security, which a lot of people didn't realize. That's what they were doing on stage originally. I mean, I wasn't going to go up. I have two left feet, so it wasn't going to be me. But it was Wally and Brooks on stage as Prince was kind of opening up the show and inviting people on stage.
I don't think that I knew that. I
Yeah.
knew that they were called the dancing bodyguards or whatever, or
Mhm.
whatever they were referring to them as. But I didn't. And I only thought that they were given that title because of the fact that they were bodyguards, and now they were dancing. But
No, they were up there
they were
for a reason.
actively guarding him
Wow.
on
Well,
stage.
yeah, I remember at the end of the Purple Rain, we would do Baby I'm a Star. And as that show developed, and really just to make it more interesting and to open it up to the fans, they were starting to invite people on stage. And now you had the crowd on stage, and they were doing this whole thing.
Mm.
And it was, where do you put security? And so
Right.
as we went on, and Prince kind of liked the idea of inviting people on stage, okay, what do you do? And so dancing security.
Andre asked, "Do you know where he got his sunglasses?" Actually, Wally's been on the show a few times, and he's actually he told me that he got his glasses at Target. It wasn't any place fancy. It was like he said, "Yeah, I think I got him at like Target or."
Anthony, it was probably telling you the truth.
Yeah, he was.
Wally had
I know.
so many one-liners. He's one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. The last time I saw him, I asked, how someone was doing, and I'm not even going to say what he said, but I had to sit down. I was laughing so hard because he said it just like that, just like, oh, da, 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 and I had to sit and just laugh. It was just that funny. But yeah, he was just a great guy.
So in Wally's book, which I actually have the Kindle version. I need to get a physical version, but I Kindle version. But he told a story in his book about you and him hanging out in a club, and this may have been what preceded the basketball game. I don't know, but I don't think so. But Prince and Eddie Murphy are sitting in a VIP area, and Prince was kind of peacocking a little bit and showed Eddie a wad of cash. It was like $1,000 or more, and it was in a money clip. And Eddie snatched the money clip and just walks out, leaves the club. And Wally said he was in the bathroom. Wally comes back from the bathroom, sees the look on Prince's face, and Prince said, "Can't believe he just took my money." But he didn't tell Wally to get the money back. He didn't say go get the money back from Eddie. He just sat there dumbfounded. Now he said were you there during this whole thing? Wally said he was in the bathroom. Where were you?
It, I wouldn't doubt that happened. I definitely wouldn't doubt that happened. That would have probably been at Tramps. That would have been at the same club. Yeah, and that would have happened shortly after the after the Purple Rain tour. So yeah, that's where we were hanging out, and yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't doubt it. Wouldn't
Um,
doubt it.
and there was another story that he said, because I wanted to find some stories that Wally had specifically mentioned you. And he said it was another story where um, I want to say you guys were in Paris and it was the two of you and all of you got to Prince's room and you guys found a note from a maid that Prince thought was a suicide note. It said something like, "I'm sorry, but it's once in a lifetime. I had to do it." Do you remember this?
No, was it in?
It- well, he
I
said it
wonder
was
if
in
he's.
Paris. The story goes is that there was you guys got to Prince's room and there was a note from the maid and it said, "I'm sorry, but it's once in a lifetime. I had to do it." And Wally said that both Prince and you thought that it was a suicide note, and you guys started, or Prince started freaking out, and Wally had realized that all the note was saying was that she had stolen a pair of his boots, and
Oh,
Prince was like, "Oh, that's all? I thought she died somewhere up in here." So, so
again, I will not say that that didn't happen. I don't remember that. It definitely could have happened. I think for me, um, there were a lot of things that I just compartmentalized, and my focus was on him. And some of the other things that were happening, if I didn't have to deal with it at that time, I just kind of brushed it aside, like you guys deal with it. Because people will come to me and different people that I've worked with. You remember this time when this happened? You remember that time when that happened? And I'm like, no. And here's all this stuff that was going on. And I was like, yeah, if I didn't have to fix it, if I didn't have to be in the middle of it, I'm good. So I
yeah,
had enough to do.
Wally was one of these rare individuals that remembers everything. He could remember dates and times, and oh yeah, it was like September 12th, 1986, and we were at such and such, and we had a white Chevrolet,
It
and
was
I mean, it was like,
7:30.
how are you?
Five.
It was 7:30. It was dusk. It was like, how do you remember these?
Because Wally was a storyteller, and I think that all of his
Oh
experience,
God.
he would know that he was going to put that into telling the tale later on. So yeah, I would say he was very good at recognizing certain little details and stuff, and being able to recall those to paint the picture of what happened. And by the way, I have to say the fact that you found that video footage of Hard Life, I've never seen it before.
I'll
I've
Oh
send
never.
it to you.
wow.
I gosh. So I was like watching that, like that's actually out there. Was that the whole piece, or was that the only cut that
No,
was
there.
available?
Now,
It's a 15-minute horrible movie that is just filled with the worst acting. I don't
That
of
was
all
a
time.
Saturday. It was
everything.
a
That
Saturday,
was a
and it was
Saturday.
part of the Sunday. Yeah, and,
Looked like a
there was
Saturday.
no movie. There was no script. I mean, there was no plan to film a movie. Prince just had it in his head to, hey, let's do a movie. And so I was like, yeah, let's do a movie. So he just started filming this movie, and a lot of that, if I remember correctly, was just kind of made up as it was as we went along, with Wally and Brooks, coming up with a lot of the different skits and stuff that was going on in that movie because they were just funny. I mean, they
Oh, yeah.
were just that funny. So yeah, so it was just what we did on the weekend kind of thing.
Oh my gosh. So, and I was looking at this. Matter of fact, there's Wiley doing his thing. This is when they had moved from. I guess at this point he's moving. He's moved from onstage bodyguard. Are you happy for him? I know that you don't appear to be a kind of person that kind of when something good happens to somebody that you're like jealous or anything. Were you like happy for him or
Oh yeah, I mean, the fact that I mean, first of all, Prince didn't do it as a favor to them, but at the same time, you know, he was finding a place for them to play a role in what he was doing. And Prince was always very good at recognizing, that unheralded talent that someone might have. He would see it even if they didn't, and he would give them the opportunity to, use it. And I think he saw that in Wally and Brooks. They could play these characters, and so he put them on stage. That's from Sign of the Times. and and they did their thing, and they were great at it. Along with Jerome, it kind of evened that thing out, and they were helping to move the show, and kind of convey the message of the chaos that was Sign of the Times.